Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Mike, along with my co-host, Dave. Welcome to this edition of the Philly Pod. Today is December 3rd, 2016. How you doing, Dave?
Not well, Mike. I have been in a bitter mood for the past 5 days ever since that Eagles game against the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, this was not a good feeling. I tried, I was watching the game, at home, just trying to get myself into it, and I couldn't do it. Aaron Rodgers kind of sucked the air out of me, and I guess the 42,000 others that were there at the game on.
That game has effectively sucked. It sucked the life out of the Eagles season and out of all Eagles fans in this city.
Yeah.
Because here we are, we're recording. There's a game coming up, Eagles against the Bengals, and there is nobody, Mike, nobody right now talking about this game.
Well, I don't blame them because you look at the way they played Monday night, and they did nothing to slow down that Packers offense.
No.
Hey, hats off to Aaron Rodgers for doing what teams have to do, which is keeping Carson Wentz off the field.
Yeah,
they were chewing that clock up, and the Eagles' defense could not get them off the field.
Yeah, they played bad. The offense was bad. The defensive strategy in that game was terrible. And even if they win this game coming up against the Cincinnati Bengals, and even by the time you hear this, if by the time you listen to this, the Eagles are 6-6. If they've gotten a win over Cincinnati, it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter. Like, playoffs now are they're done.
Yeah,
they're done now. Yeah, you could say they could. Well, Dave, they could win out. They could go 10-6. They're not winning the last 5 games.
No,
not with a hobble. Like their best receiver right now would be Jordan Matthews on one leg.
If they did, it'd be a miracle.
Nah, it's not happening.
I know, and not to mention their conference record is bad.
That's the thing. Their conference record is bad, and now they're behind too many. Like they don't hold the tiebreaker over too many teams in front of them in the standings.
I don't see it.
So the week sucked. I was really the way they started out. I really had my hopes up for seeing a playoff berth this year, and there's a lot we need to talk about. With the Eagles today, this is going to be pretty much an all Eagles show today because there are a lot of things to discuss. Because frankly, there are more alarming things that we saw again from the head coaching position. All right, now we knew the flaws with this team, but I was not expecting to see some of the frankly idiotic decisions that have been made on the sidelines this year.
Challenging a 2.5-yard gain.
What is that?
I mean, I can understand if that's a touchdown, but that wasn't a touchdown.
When you get called out by the play-by-play announcer, not John Gruden, I don't even know the guy's name. You don't get called out by John Gruden, okay? You get called out by the play-by-play announcer for ESPN on that decision. Dude, you're not doing something right.
No. I mean, I can understand if that was a touchdown, but that was not a touchdown. That was just some play. And
did you hear his bumbling reasoning, his answer behind that in the press conference after the game and on Monday?
No, I did not. What was it?
It was incoherent. We'll see if we can get that audio up. But holy cow, it doesn't. It's alarming. Okay, it's alarming for me. And I understand the guy's only coached 11 games, 12 by the time you listen to this. But there have just been too many mistakes. I mean, just too many basic football decisions that have been wrong. Where I'm concerned about Doug Pederson as a head coach. I am. In fact, I am just about ready to say that they're not going to win a Super Bowl with this guy as a coach. If they can get talent around him, yeah, they're going to be able to win some games. But I don't see them doing anything major with Doug Pederson as the head coach. I don't. I have to be honest. And I hate to do that after only an 11-game sample size, but you can see. You can see it. Like, Carson Wentz, has his play been since the first 3 games? Yeah, it has been. I think there are other reasons for that, but you can still see, like, Carson Wentz is going to be the guy of the future here. I can make that call. I don't like to make that call after only a couple of games, but I can do that. And likewise, I feel I can make that same call now about Doug Pederson. he's put together some good game plans, but just been too many simple mistakes he gets wrong. And I don't believe that's part of the learning curve. I know we had this talk a couple weeks ago. I don't believe it.
I think he's running too many screenplays. One more screenplay, and I'm about to snap. Because that seems to be the only thing that he ever calls in his offensive scheme system.
But there's a lot to discuss with this Eagles team, and it's not just Doug Pederson. And I have to ask the question. I started thinking throughout the week. After that, where the Eagles are currently sitting, the 3-0 start we said was the worst thing for him. And I have to ask the question: like, were we fooled by this team? Were we fooled by the 3-0 start?
Possibly, but looking back at it, it was a great feeling to be 3-0. But it's a long season, and I think it's fine to be enjoy the moment. But looking down the road after the bye week, there were a lot of tough games, and we knew this before the season started. And we said that.
And the crazy thing, aside from 2 games, the Eagles could have won a large majority of these games. They could have beat the Giants. They could have beat the Cowboys. They could have beat the Lions. They could have beat the Packers had the things progressed a little differently. The Seahawks, they weren't going to win.
No.
Redskins, they weren't going to win.
No.
But this team could be sitting in a much better position currently than they are right now had it not been for some fumble against Detroit and bad coaching decisions against the Cowboys and the Giants. And I look at it, and I'm trying to figure out what went wrong with this team. You go from 3-0 and now to where you're now 2-6 in your last 8 games.
They just don't have the talent. They don't have the talent, and it's showing against these really good football teams. I mean, Green Bay, even though they're not playing the way they should, probably they're still a good football team. And you've got to respect that. New York, Washington, Detroit, all possible playoff contenders.
I think it's what you said, man. That the flaws in this team, that the lack of talent at certain positions, just have caught up to them. Especially when you see receiver,
and teams are exposing that.
They
Teams are exposing those flaws.
Yeah, and there's game film. Listen, there's game film out now on Wentz and Pederson and what they'd like to do, and they just haven't counter adjusted yet. And I don't know. Maybe it's because they don't have the talent to be able to do so yet.
That's a possibility. And what I want to see out of these last 5 games, if anything, I want to see some aggressiveness down the field. Because
that's the problem, though, Mike. They don't have it.
I know.
Who can they? I mean, they don't have that. Like, they don't have that to be able to move the ball down the field. They just don't. That's the issue.
Yeah.
So, I see that, and it's just frustrating because you start 3-0. They look so much better than what we expected. Like, we both had them pegged to 2-0. All right, we both had them winning against the Bears and the Browns. They both stunk. The game that surprised, the 2 games that surprised us the most were the Vikings and the Steelers games.
Yeah,
and that got us thinking, wow, okay, well maybe it's maybe this team could do better. And despite that, right, despite the lack of skill position players, the secondary weaknesses, the inconsistent play from the defensive line, they could be 7-4.
Yeah,
at the worst,
and very well
7-4
picture.
Maybe 8-3 if they take the Lions, Giants, and Cowboys games, and they're right in the thick of it.
Yep.
So despite all those deficiencies, they could have been in it. And the fact that they lost those close games, I think Pederson's decisions have just been highlighted because they came in close games in big situations.
Yeah, and he choked under pressure.
So, I'm just so frustrated, man. I guess our original thoughts, our original predictions about this team are right. We had them pegged in the 5-11, 6-10 range, and I guess that's what's happened.
You and about 2 million other people in this city are really frustrated about this team.
I think I just got caught up. Looking back on, I think I got caught up and swept up by the 3-0 start. But we say, expectations change.
Yeah,
they do. When you come out and look the way you did in those first 3 games, things change.
Especially in a city like Philadelphia.
Yeah. Expectations,
when you're playing well, we expect nothing but the way you're currently playing.
75%. 75% of teams that start 3-0 make the playoffs. So when you start, the expectations change then. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, they do. And just seeing the way they never counter adjust it to me it's just I'm disappointed right now. That's the only way I can describe it.
Again, you and 2.5 million other people in the city are disappointed right now.
So I have to ask, like, do the Eagles they consider a coaching change?
That's not true.
You see, I want to say yes, but part of me, just a small part of me, is saying no for the fact that it was his first year and the fact that Chip Kelly, going back to Chip, yes, I know, tore apart this team and whatever.
We gotta get past that, though, dude. We gotta stop blaming Chip Kelly. All right, Chip Kelly's not the one challenging 2-yard plays. He's not the one, not kicking field goals. We have to move. This whole city has to move past the Chip Kelly thing. All right, that's over. It's done with. We gotta move on from that. Despite whatever happened there, the Eagles still could have been 7-4, 8-3.
Well, all right. So a small part of me is still saying that you got to give him another year just to see if he can change my mind. Maybe there's something he needs to do in the offseason. A little soul searching. Maybe that gets him back on track to what we need to do, which is winning football games. I'm willing to give him one more season to prove. I
think you have to. I don't think he's going to be the coach that takes us where we need to be. I think we have the quarterback. We don't have the coach. I can say that, but you can't get rid of him after 1 year. Despite the mistakes you've seen, I think you do have to give him more time. Let me ask you this though, all right? Because I do think that, but I have one possible exception for me. Say the Eagles lose out, finish 5-11, which means they would have lost their last 6 games of the year after being 5-5, and they would have went 2-11 in their last 13 with Doug P. If they lose out, then what? Then what for you?
I can't do it. I still couldn't fire him. You think about 1999 when Andy Reid went 5-11. The very next year, he led us to the playoffs. Him and McNabb led us to the playoffs.
He didn't have a 3-0 start, though. He had a 75% chance of making the playoffs.
This is true. But
see, for me, go ahead.
I still got to give him another year.
Okay.
I still got to give him another year. I still got to see if he has anything that can change my mind. I don't want to do what Tampa Bay did to Lovie Smith, down in Tampa Bay. So
fair point.
I'll give him another year.
Fair point. But there's difference there. Like, Lovie Smith is an established NFL coach who'd been to a Super Bowl. All right. Doug Pederson, like, for me, if they lose out and finish 5-11, that's grounds for me where it's fair game that I can go out and think about making a change. Because when you start out the way that they did, because for me, there are fatal flaws I see. I just don't think the guy, I don't think he has it. I don't see command. I don't see commanding presence. I think he's too soft on the players. From what I'm hearing from the insiders, there's just a lot of loving going on in that locker room. Okay, there's a lot of love. He likes to love guys up, which, okay, you need to do that, but you got to be able to drop the hammer too. And right now, it sounds like that's not happening. And that's a problem because you're only getting one side of it there. Which I guess Chip Kelly was the complete opposite way. And I guess Jeffrey Lurie, when he talked about emotional intelligence, I guess that's what he was looking for in Doug Pederson and what he saw that appealed to him. But you got to be able to get on guys too. It sounds like there's not a lot of accountability being held in practices, and that's a problem. That's a problem.
It is a problem, but are you going to be like Al Davis now and fire a coach every year because he doesn't, do what needs to be done?
No, I'm not saying that.
And if you do fire Doug Pederson after this year, this would be a third coach in 3 years.
It would be. I'm not saying that you turn into the Oakland Raiders and you get 5-11. This guy, nope, you're out. I understand there's a process that goes with it, but my problem is Pederson's made mistakes that a guy who's been a football guy his whole life you shouldn't make. When you're on the road. Okay, playing on the road against the New York Giants, you kick the field goals there, all right? You take the points. You don't mess around with that. You don't challenge an insignificant 2-yard play, all right, in a 4-point game on Monday Night Football. You don't not kick a 53-yard field goal and choose to punt it when you could go up by 10 points. And you don't let 30 seconds go off of the clock at the end of the game when you could get a punt return for a touchdown.
Maybe.
I don't. Those are flaws for me that stand out to tell me this guy he doesn't know what he's doing. I don't think he's got it.
Maybe we should go get John Green and ask him if he wants to come out of retirement, or Tom Coughlin for that matter. Maybe they'll come out and coach the Eagles.
I don't. Everybody keeps bringing up Gruden, and I've been hearing a lot of people talk about it again too. Gruden's not leaving. Why would he leave? No, seriously, why would he leave Monday Night Football? You got Gruden grinders. He goes to the high schools every week. He doesn't have to put in the long hours. No stress. Doesn't have to deal with the divas. Why? I mean, what's the motivation for him to come back? He's got the ring. He's perfectly fine up there in the booth. He's got a whole thing going on with Monday Night Football.
Oh, come on, man. That was a joke. That was a joke, man.
There's people out there who think they actually can lure him back.
I don't think they will, but there are talks about Tom Coughlin coming back next year.
Well, he turned down this job last year. You have to remember that.
True.
He was in contention.
True.
But there is a name out there that's been floated, and I want to hear what you have to say about this.
All right.
I have my thoughts. I want to hear what you have to say now, Mike. There are reports that if the Ravens do not end the season on a positive note, which sounds to me like win the division or make the playoffs, that John Harbaugh could be out in Baltimore. Now, if John Harbaugh is out and available on the market, former Eagles coach, former Eagles special teams coach, are you pulling the trigger on Doug Pederson?
That's tempting, but I still want to see what Doug Pederson.
Oh, I do in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, I get Doug the boot and get John Harbaugh in here. That guy's a winner. All right, that guy knows what it takes to put together a team. He runs tough practice, holds guys accountable. I would do that for me in a heartbeat.
Now, I would be interested to see what he bring to the table here for Philadelphia. But I still want to see. I still want to stick to the plan and see if Doug Pederson can change my mind.
So do you trust Doug Pederson to develop this team and specifically to develop this quarterback? Because he's the key. Carson Wentz is going to be the key to our future. And ultimately, his development is in the hands of Doug Pederson, the man who likes to challenge 2-yard plays. And they're in his hands. Do you trust him with the keys to the future, the keys to Carson Wentz?
You put it that way, no. You put it that way, no.
Well, that's a problem. That's a problem for me, man. That's where I'm coming from.
You make some valid points.
So if that's the case, like, do you think, I mean, now, it might not affect him. Like, yeah, I remember Peyton Manning was around Jim Mora Sr. It'd be in his career.
Playoffs?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You can't talk about playoffs?
Exactly, and that didn't hurt his development. No. So it might be an irrelevant point. But you take a look like a guy like David Carr, who I believe got a bad shake in this league when he had, I can't think of the guy's name. Packers defensive coordinator right now. He's the coach of the Texans.
Kubiak?
No, not Kubiak. No. He Don Capers. That's it. The defensive coordinator threw him out there, behind a terrible offensive line, no weapons. Killed that kid's career. It's not any chance that kid had of being a legitimate player. So I think it's something like that, and I'm a little worried about Carson Wentz. And like, could Pederson really hurt his development? What he's going through right now? Like, how about the lack of weapons? The coaching staff around him. Is this all going to hurt Wentz's development down the line?
That possibly could. Now that I think about it, because you don't have weapons. He's so used to seeing players drop balls, and that could build some frustration up for Wentz.
It's going to build frustration. It's going to hurt the confidence in these guys. Now, who knows? To me, I see this kid. He doesn't look to me like a kid who's going to get fazed by that. No. He's probably going to be smart enough to recognize it, like, well, I have nothing around me. All right, you get me some playmakers, yeah, I'm going to be all right. He just has a confidence, just a swagger to him, about him.
I like that about Wentz.
Yeah, I think he's smart enough to be able to filter out the good and the bad.
He even got compliments from Richard Sherman.
Oh yeah, yeah. What Sherman said, a lot of people always get on Richard Sherman and he just really calls things like they are. Sherman said nothing about Carson Wentz that wasn't true.
No,
he wasn't intimidated by Seattle.
No,
he wasn't too.
Phased.
Yeah, it wasn't too big for him. It's just he's a rookie.
Yeah,
he's gonna make rookie mistakes. Get some guys around him, coach him up, and he'll be good. The one thing, I love Carson Wentz. I do. Everybody knows I'm on the Wentz wagon. I am one of the leaders on the Wentz wagon. One thing that is concerning, he's got to clean up his mechanics. Too many throws high across the middle. And throws high across the middle usually end in interceptions.
You saw that on Monday night.
Yeah, he's got to clean that up. All right, and maybe with another off season to really tune into those things, he might be good. But that's the only thing I could say I'm legitimately concerned about. But everything else about Carson Wentz I've loved.
I like it. I like what this kid can do. I like the fact that, in the preseason, he wouldn't have gotten out of bounds. Now he's learning to slide. He's learning to get out of bounds. He's starting to get that NFL type of mind where, all right, I got to get out of bounds. I can't take these hits. I got to throw the ball away. He's starting to develop that mindset of an NFL player.
Right. And that's big. That's what you need. And you know what? I mean, the season, it's meaningless now. These last 5 games are really all they are about now is just the development of this kid. And, originally when we said back in August, we were like, well, it's all about Carson Wentz and getting his development in. And just because this is our guy of the future, So there still is some importance to the season. And it's very important with Carson Wentz being the future. It's disappointing, man. I'm tired of it. We haven't had a playoff win since 2008 in this city. Like, that's a long time.
Yeah,
that's a long time, man.
That year we went to the NFC Championship.
That's the Cardinals game. That was the Cardinals game, man.
Oh,
the offense couldn't close that, and the defense, you just watched the Cardinals, Kurt Warner, Larry Fitzgerald just march right down the field.
Dude, I was sick that day.
Tough one.
I couldn't stay up. I remember that day like it was yesterday. I didn't feel well.
Yeah, that was another tough one because that was the game the Eagles could have won. That was another one that got away from them in the playoffs.
Yeah, but don't forget, back in August, we also had this kid on the bench, not playing.
Well, yeah, it's funny how things change. Back in August, when we were making our picks for the season, we're looking at it like, all right, Sam Bradford's the quarterback. We weren't really expecting much. Yeah. And then this kid comes in, shows us what he can do, and they go 3-0, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, man. And then adjustments were made, game film was put out, and they haven't been able to counterpunch.
Well, you know what? Maybe that's just a glimpse of the future right there.
Oh, it is. I mean, Carson Wentz is going to be fine. I have zero doubt about that. That I do. I have zero doubt about Carson Wentz. Doug Pederson, I have 100% doubt in Doug Pederson right now.
Yeah, I would agree. Challenging a 2.5-yard catch.
I'm telling you, man, if John Harbaugh is there, he'll make that switch.
All right.
He'll make that switch.
You heard it first, folks.
Yeah.
Dave Ventressa.
Yeah.
Harbaugh.
I want him. If he's out there, if something happens, I'll take John Harbaugh in a heartbeat to come coach this team.
Bring him in, Laurie. Bring him in.
He won't do that, though.
I
don't think Jeff Lurie's got the guts to make that move.
No.
But most positions, you think about the top of a company, if you see a guy struggling early and you see warning signs that, like a guy in a major position, he's not going to be it, Are you going to wait and give him 3 years to develop? No, you're going to right. If you see the early warning signs, yeah, you're right. You give him the boot.
Yeah.
You give him the boot, I don't think that's going to happen here. Jeffrey Lurie's not that type of owner. He typically gives guys years. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
14 years.
Yeah, but Andy could coach though.
Oh, yeah, he could.
Andy Reid could coach. He just had fatal flaws against good teams.
Yeah.
But man, he's got the Chiefs in a good position right now.
He does 8-3.
8-3.
That's.
But speaking of, who you like out of the AFC now? Gronk going down. That affects things. Who's coming out of the AFC?
KC.
Oh, you think the Chiefs?
The Chiefs. Yeah, the Chiefs. The way they're playing, the way they can run the ball, the way their defense is playing, I got the Chiefs coming out of that division.
Do you really?
The conference.
Wow, so you haven't taken out the Patriots.
The Raiders are too inconsistent.
They're 9-2. They're 9-2.
They are, but one bad game by the offense and their defense can't hold them.
I'm exactly with you there. That's my fear with the Raiders. That offense is, you have that one game at the playoffs, not even in the playoffs, any big game where that offense isn't clicking, you're going to need that defense to hold them in a tight game. And I don't trust that defense. I'm with you. I don't trust that defense to be able to hold up in a game like that.
That's why I think that the Chiefs could be a Super Bowl favorite.
Oh, a Super Bowl favorite? No, it's the Cowboys right now. I think
Prescott, a rookie?
I would take the Cowboys over the Chiefs.
I don't know,
right now at this moment.
I don't know.
In that matchup, I would. The interesting matchup of the NFC, it looks like it's... Well, I don't know. I can't even say it looks like. The interesting matchup would be the Cowboys and the Seahawks.
That would definitely be an interesting matchup.
I think I might have to lean... I would have to lean Cowboys there. It's because the Cowboys are able to run the football and control the clock.
You know what? The Seahawks are too inconsistent on offense.
Well, they are, and that's the problem. Like the Seahawks, they have not been able to establish a ground game.
No.
All right, that's what was their bread and butter. Always under Pete Carroll. Always able to run the ball.
Let's not forget you also had Marshawn Lynch.
Well, yeah, even Thomas Rawls last year.
But I have to agree. I think the Cowboys beat the Seahawks.
I'd have to give them the edge there, but we'll see. The Cowboys. I'm not saying the Cowboys are Super Bowl favorites. I just want to clarify that.
Yeah.
I think what I was referring to, we were talking about a Cowboys-Chiefs matchup.
Scenarios.
Yeah, we're talking a Cowboys-Chiefs matchup.
Possible scenarios.
Yeah, if that were the case, I would definitely favor the Cowboys there. But the Patriots, I don't know. I wouldn't sleep on them. I mean, for me, before the Gronk injury, they were far and away. They were going to the Super Bowl out of the AFC. Now I think the Gronk injury brings them back to the pack.
You know what? That wouldn't surprise me to see them go back to the Super Bowl because of the fact that they still have Tom Brady. They still have Tom Brady. They still have weapons on offense. They still have LeGarrette Blount.
Now you hit it. You hit it.
That's why it wouldn't surprise me to see
you
them
hit
back
those
in the
two
game.
words. Those two words. As long as they have those two words, Tom Brady, they will always be a threat to go to the Super Bowl. Until he's out of there, they will always be a threat and always be the favorites out of the AFC.
Not to mention, you have a good coach in Bill Belichick who knows what he's doing.
The best coach of all time.
Easily.
Oh, without a doubt. He is. Yeah, he's the best coach ever. I'm sorry. Just the decisions he makes in games, his game plans. There's no one better than him right now.
And he's not the most overzealous guy, but he knows how to make teams play hard week in, week out, and they always seem to come through when they need to. And Tom Brady, him and Tom Brady are like PB and J. They always seem to. They just match. They go well together. They coexist. And when you coexist the way those two have for the past decade,
it's unbeatable.
Yeah,
it's unbeatable. Before we start our other segments, we just want to touch on a couple things really quick. We have currently going on as we're recording. You guys are hearing this after the results. Temple taking on Navy in the AAC championship game. And apparently, Mike, you found that there's some big implications in this game should Navy win, which I was not aware of.
Yes. If Navy wins today, and that's still a big if because obviously you have to have the game play out. But if Navy wins, it freezes the bowl selections, the bowl selection committee.
Now, why is that?
Because Navy still has to play a football game next weekend against Army in the Army-Navy game.
So Navy wins the AAC.
Yes.
And that throws off everything.
It throws off everything. And because of that, you give teams only a week to prepare for their bowl games as opposed to the normal 2 weeks.
That makes a big difference. That's interesting.
It does. And I was shocked because I heard this. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? And I read the story. I'm like, this is true. Oh, my God. And Army-Navy game's next weekend. So if Navy wins this game, all eyes are going to be on that Army-Navy game.
Yeah,
as if they're not already. They will definitely be tuning in to see that game next weekend in Baltimore, Maryland.
That'll be an interesting game.
That will.
We'll see. I mean, as of, Navy's down 7-0 as of this recording. Which, by the way, the line in that game, when it started, Navy was a 1.5 favorite, which it's in Navy. It has a Temple line.
Yes.
Temple line that game. My Owls, I think they're going to pull it out. I'm just going on record. I know they have a 7-0 lead, but I like them. I like them before the game. I like them before the game as well. We'll see. I'm pulling for my Owls, man. I want an AAC title. All right, but coming up, time for grind time. We give you our grinds, our gripes about things going on all over the sports world. I'm out this week. Nothing really got me upset. I still haven't found my PlayStation cord, but I'm making that work. Mike, your segment, what do you got for us this week?
Jeff Fisher. How could you kick a living legend in Eric Dickerson off the sideline for the simple fact that he said that your team sucks? Seriously, he was speaking the truth. And you didn't want to hear it. So you kicked him off the sideline. This is a living legend. This is not someone who is some scrub that is just there to support the team. This is a living legend. This is the all-time leading single season leading rusher, and you kicked him off the sideline. Really, dude? Really? So, I mean, seriously, I can't get over that. I can't get over that. This guy's a living legend, and you kick him. You have the guts to kick him off the sideline. That's a good way to lose a fan base. A very good way to lose a fan base.
And a good way to lose a job, too.
Yes.
That is the most bizarre story. Dickerson said Fisher called him up himself. Yeah, and then he backtracked.
Yeah.
Backtracked.
Yeah.
Backtracked on it. Tried to say, oh, well, no, you can come.
Yeah.
So in the middle, after he told him you can't come around. Oh, that is a... Is Jeff Fisher really that sensitive?
I would think so. I guess so, because if he wasn't, he would have taken that and swallowed it, because Dickerson's an LA Rams legend. And you go ahead and you kick him off the sideline.
Could he have been a little softer and not say that they suck? Well, yeah, he could have been a little softer. But, man, this guy, he was the Los Angeles Rams.
Yes.
He was that franchise. That's a bizarre story. I don't know what to make. A lot of people think this is the year Jeff Fisher finally gets the axe in
As
Los
he
Angeles.
should.
And he might.
Especially with the move to the new stadium in a couple of years.
A lot of bad PR there. There's a lot of bad PR with Jared Goff and a lot of bad PR now with Eric Dickerson. That might be it. That might be all she wrote for Fisher. Has there been a more overrated coach in the league than Jeff Fisher?
He's only had, 6 winning seasons?
I believe that's right. 6 winning seasons. That's it.
He's overrated.
Gotta be.
Overrated.
Gets to one Super Bowl with Steve McNair and Austin. He's great. You know, the way people revere
Not to
him.
mention, they lost that game.
Yeah, he doesn't even have a ring. That's bizarre. I don't get it now with the Jeff Fisher thing, but he's got to be out. Oh, before we keep going, we didn't mention Penn State.
Penn State, Wisconsin, tonight.
Tonight, yeah. So hopefully by the time you're hearing this recording, the Nittany Lions will have wrapped up a Big Ten title.
Yes.
First one in quite some time.
Yes.
I don't know the exact stats. We'll see if we can post that when these videos get out. But it's been a while.
But Wisconsin is favored by 3.
Yeah, Wisconsin's 3-point favorites. Doesn't really tell me much. Just Wisconsin's a slight favorite. But things are not looking good for Penn State already in the playoff rankings, because Washington pulled off a win. So for them to realistically have a chance of making it in the playoffs, they were going to need Wisconsin, or not Wisconsin. They were going to need Washington to lose, and with Washington getting that win, that pretty much locks them up into the top 4.
Temple is up 21-0 over Navy right now.
There we go. How about them out?
And I just checked the line again. The line is still 3 points.
Still 3 points, yeah. But we'll see. It's not looking good.
21-0 Temple leads now.
Penn State could win this game, and I hope they do. Hopefully when you hear this, Penn State will have secured a win, but it's not looking good for them to get in the playoffs.
It's a very tough game to win.
It is. It would be great for the program, and we're pulling for the Nittany Lions.
You're still going to the Rose Bowl if you win this game, so it's still a big milestone towards rebuilding this program. And I heard that the game's being called at Lucas Oil Stadium, which we've both seen in person.
Yeah, we
have.
have.
A beautiful stadium, by the way.
Yeah.
Is only a mile away from where they dropped the sanctions.
Interesting.
Yeah.
A little bit of irony there.
Yeah,
They pull that game out. Yeah.
But if they win, hey, more power to them, and good luck.
That would be great. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
It'd be big for that program. They need something. They won't get them into the playoffs, but it'd
be a big stepping stone.
Yeah, they would. That program would need it, and they deserve it. They've been through a lot the last 5-6 years.
Speaking of college football, Oregon was reaching out to Chip Kelly, and Chip Kelly said he wasn't leaving San Francisco.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
Yeah.
I want to see if he still feels the same way after a 1-15 season.
Yeah, but so
gotta move it along. We've now got the buzz, where we bring to you wacky, crazy headlines from around the globe, and we're going to kick it off here. We are going to Santa Cruz, California. And we're just talking about the West Coast with the Rams. Appropriate. Yeah. All right, Santa Cruz, California, where a police officer who was patrolling the streets through a local neighborhood passed by a car in a driveway, and he noticed there was a funny noise coming from the car, specifically the engine. Now, what struck the officer, what made him stop, was that he saw the car was off. Noticed there was a noise coming from the engine. So he went, knocked on the door, got the owner. They popped up the hood, started looking at the engine, and inside they discovered there was a baby kitten stuck inside the engine, because they could hear it. When they got closer, they could hear the kitten actually meowing.
Yeah.
So they got it open. They saw the kitten. They were actually able to remove the kitten from the engine block, and they were actually able to rescue it. The kitten was covered in grease and dirt, but other than that, it was totally unharmed.
Wow. Good thing for the police were there when that was going down, or that could have been
that could have been really
disastrous.
Bad. Yeah. Oh, and get this, and the police officer apparently was so taken in by the kitten. It's this tiny thing. We'll have to get the pictures up. Yeah. It's this tiny thing. He was so taken in by the kitten, he decided to adopt her and make her his own pet.
That's awesome.
That's a cool story.
That's a feel-good story.
That
right
is.
there,
That's
folks.
a great story. See, it's not all just comedy here on the Buzz. We give you the feel goods as well.
And it's the holiday season. That's a great way to start the holiday season.
Well, you mentioned the holiday season, which actually, Mike, is a great segue to this next story we have here. And we're going up north to the northeast, just above Pennsylvania, to the state of New York.
Okay.
Specifically Penfield, New York,
right.
Where there was an attempted robbery of a local pizzeria.
Boy.
But this is not your typical case, though. Police were called to the scene of this pizzeria, but it was interesting because they were not called until hours after the robbery attempt, and they were called because local neighbors reported sounds of a man screaming from the pizzeria.
Oh boy!
When police arrived at the scene and they entered the restaurant, they found that the would-be robber was stuck in an air vent. Apparently, the robber climbed up on the roof and then attempted to climb down the air vent and break into the pizzeria that way.
Oh.
But got stuck in the process. He was stuck just above the grate to get into one of the ovens. It was wedged in, could not get out.
Ooh,
he was treated for minor injuries, released, but then arrested for attempted robbery.
Stupid people make stupid decisions.
Well, hey, maybe he thought, hey, Santa Claus is a big guy. He can get down those chimneys. I'm a lot skinnier. Why can't I?
Failed. Oh, God. Hasty decisions equals bad results.
I tell you, when you go into the slammer, like, aren't you supposed to have like some like cool story to be able to tell why you're in there? You know, like you ask that guy, "Oh, what are you in here for?" Grand Theft Auto. What about you? I tried to break into a pizza place. Oh, what happened? Got stuck in the air vent. I don't think it's going to go over too well. I think it's going to hurt the cred.
Yeah.
Man. All right, there you go. There are your stories for this week in the Buzz. Coming up now, we have our locks of the week. Week 13 locks of the week. I already put a play out there from Thursday Night Football.
Yes.
I had the Minnesota Vikings. I took them at plus 3.5 against the Cowboys. They did not get the win, but they did cover the 3.5.
Nicely done.
Thank you, sir. So I'm off to a 1-0 start this week.
I am coming off a 0-1-1 week last week.
You got to turn around, man. Your picks the last couple. Ever since you had that little 5-0 stretch, they've been going the other way.
Downhill.
Let's get them rolling here.
Yeah.
All right. Now I had another good week last week, so I'm going to start ahead and kick it off. You have my you knew about my Minnesota play. My lock of the week. This line stood out to me right away. Right away, it caught my eye. The Denver Broncos. Trevor Siemian is out. That means the kid, Paxton Lynch, is now in a quarterback. Traveling to Jacksonville against the Gus Bus and the Jaguars. And the Denver Broncos are only 3.5-point favorites in this game. That's a fishy line, Mike. Mm-hmm. Tells me what I need to know. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh,
at
man.
plus 3.5. They're gonna win that game against the Denver Broncos.
Oh man!
Give me the Jags. How you like that pick?
That's a great pick, Dave.
Thank you. What you got for us this week?
Well,
give us some winners.
We're going to Gillette Stadium.
Okay.
Where the New England Patriots are hosting the LA Rams.
All right.
The New England Patriots are favored by 13.5 points.
Ooh, that's a big number.
That is a big number. And knowing Tom Brady, I think he's going to cover that number. So give me the New England Patriots to cover and win that 13.5 points.
Yeah, that's a good pick. You know, the Patriots, whenever they have controversy, they always seem to come and blow a team out. Yeah.
Yes. Then
I like that.
We're going to go down to Georgia. The Georgia Dome.
Okay.
The Atlanta Falcons are hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. The Atlanta Falcons are favored by 5.5 points.
Okay.
However, knowing how hot the Chiefs have been recently, I got the Kansas City Chiefs to cover and win the 5.5 points.
Oh, you got him taken down,
Yes.
Matty Ice.
Yes.
Do you really? Oh, man.
Wow.
Wow.
I think the Chiefs stay hot and they win that game.
Man, see, I couldn't touch that game. I don't know what way that's going to go. Man, that's a gutsy one. Okay,
It is.
I like it, though. I like both of those picks this week, man. Nice job. All right,
feels good.
Yeah. All right, so there you go. Your locks of the week. I've got the Jags at plus 3.5. I'm telling you, they're going to take down Paxton Lynch and the Broncos. I like the Jags. Mike's got the Patriots covering the 13.5, and the Chiefs at plus 5.5 to cover and win the game.
The Chiefs.
Take down Matty Ice and the Falcons. There are your locks of the week for week 13. So time for shout-outs. We're going to keep it on Twitter this week, where we are going to give shout-outs to Full Count Sports. Thank you for following us. Flyers, 12-10-3. He's like a big Flyers fan.
The record.
Yeah, the record. I like that. And he updates it with each win or loss.
Ah, that's cool.
Dedication. I like
That's
that.
cool.
That is cool. And to Cheryl Taylor, thank you all for following us on Twitter this week. Make sure you tune in. Check us out here on the Philly Pod. We are on Facebook, on Twitter. We have free downloads on iTunes. We're on SoundCloud. And we have a slowly growing YouTube channel as well. So make sure you check us out on all those avenues. We appreciate all the support we've had. And it's been a fun ride so far.
It has been.
Yeah. All right, so we got to close it down here. Another week of the Philly Pod is come and went. Frankly, there's nothing I'm really looking forward to that I want to see. I mean, I'm going down to the Sixers game. I actually have box seats. First time ever I've ever gone to a game with box seats.
Wow.
So that should be a cool experience.
Yeah, as long as the court is not filled with condensation.
What happened with that? Why does that happen? I mean, it feels like this is the second time. First we had the Eagles and Ravens at the vet, and now this condensation on the court.
Yeah. I would love to know what happened.
I don't know the specifics of that story.
No.
We'll find that out for next week. All right, we're going to do some research on that. We'll come back to you next week here and let you know what exactly happened with why there was condensation going on. But what you got going on this week, Mike? Anything good?
Right now we got the Flyers playing right now, but they got a busy week. They got the Predators tomorrow, and of course they're almost slate of games the rest of the week. But other than that, not really a whole lot. Want to watch the Eagles game tomorrow? See if they can somehow win.
I'll watch it too. My interest is like I have zero level interest in it. I'm gonna watch it because I'm a fan, and that's my duty.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that, but my heart's not gonna be in it really the last 5 games.
No.
And I would love to watch Carson Wentz develop even more, but with lack of weapons, what are we really going to see?
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to going to the 76ers game and having a good time. I don't know if Joel Embiid's going to play or not. I sure hope so. I would love to see him in person, but that's going to be my highlight of the week coming up. So we're going to sign off here. We thank you, everybody, again, for listening as always. Again, make sure you check us out. We're on iTunes, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Check us out. We've got some good episodes out there. Give us a listen. And thank you to all of those who continue to listen and follow and support us. Signing off, I'm Dave.
I'm Mike.
Catch you guys next week on the Philly Pod.
Later.